Hello, and welcome to Smart Cookies and Coffee, the podcast where we have curious conversations over coffee with fascinating people. My guest today is Sonja Klug. Sonja is the founder of Storydo, where you can create your own family storybook, explaining your history and lives as a gift for your children and loved ones. So, Sonja, what is Storydo? What's it all about?
Storydo is a very innovative platform where parents can create a bespoke family storybook that tells the unique story of their child. So they just have to go online, they answer questions, upload photos, and then the Storydo book builder will suggest text and and layouts that can be edited. Um, it's for young children, so the language is very simple, very much focuses on people, places, and activities. And it's the whole story from sort of the grandparents of the child to the parents as children, how they met, wish for a child, pregnancy, birth, milestone, any big changes and challenges, family life, celebrations. And then once they're finished at the end of it, they'll get an A4 hardcover book that tells their unique story with sort of text and their
Lovely.
photos.
Why do you think people would want this?
It's there are huge benefits in family storytelling. There's a lot of research that shows that family storytelling really sort of makes families more resilient. It helps children with their cognitive development, with their emotional development. It makes them more confident, more secure. It helps them to navigate challenges in real life. There's so much benefit to it, and it makes families closer, more resilient. And that book is really it's basically one big family storytelling prompt. So whenever the children will look for it for years to come, and whenever they look through it, it's a great opportunity to add more family stories. It really sort of brings everything together.
Do you think that's something that we've lost?
I think with increasingly like digital lives, there is definitely less sort of common things we do with like now, like we all used to watch TV together or do stuff together now. There's a lot of time spent with everybody being on their separate screens, and it can get really hard to get everybody off their screens to come together and do something together. So I do think it's more relevant now where there's so much content and so much entertainment out there that it sort of probably takes more of an effort now to make the family storytelling happen and to sort of really create that shared history and that shared sort of foundation. We also really hope to normalize diverse families because there's still, although there are a lot more sort of not nuclear families, sort of diverse, non-traditional families, they're still often under misrepresented in the media. There's a lot of prejudice, and often children feel like they don't have a proper family. And especially there's a lot of research that if children read something when they're quite young, ideally before reception, so when they're like 3, 4 years old, that will become their sort of normal. And it's only sort of in reception when they start to go to school that they sort of realize that maybe different families are different. So if at that age we want to sort of really strengthen that they have a great family, and this is what all families are different, and this is what our family looks like, to really, yeah, really fortify children for of diverse families, that when they go to school and everybody's got two parents and one child, maybe just have one parent, that they go, well, this is my family. All families are different, to help families and children feel good about their union.
That is so interesting. I never knew that about teaching a child what is normal before they even go to school and meet loads of other children who may have a different normal.
For example, with adoption and donor conception, in particular with donor conception, if you tell a child when they are sort of, and they're toddlers, 3, 4, when they never remember not knowing that they're donor conceived, then that will be totally normal to them. They'll have like a grandparent and their mum is Polish, and Their donor conceived, that'll be their normal. So it'll just they grow up with it, it's part of their identity. It's it doesn't mean there might not be questions later on, but it's definitely a much easier ride than if you leave it later and tell them then, and then it can become a very big deal. And it's also, I don't know, a lot of people say it's the child's right to know. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I don't want to get bogged down in this, but it would have been suggested previously that you wait until a child is old enough to learn and understand and make sense of these things. But it sounds like there's been a rethinking of that.
absolutely, it's similar with adoption that it's
Mm.
also you need to tell like a child that's been adopted, if they don't remember, they still need to learn when they're very young to sort of not have like quite a big shock to who they are. So for identity formation, that becomes part of their identity, and that's much easier when the child is younger.
Can you talk to me a bit about the physicality of the book? Why not make a family website or have a family Instagram account or whatever it may be? What is for you the importance of the physical book?
My co-founder and I very strongly feel that for children, it's still great to have something tangible, something they can touch. There's also some research that shows that children learn better from paper. It's a sensory, like a richer experience to have a book. Like many other parents, or people, but generally, I'm worried about the effect of too much digital screen time in children's lives. So we felt very strongly that it'd be nice to have a book. Also, websites get lost, you stop paying subscriptions, your card expires, it can easily get lost, while a book, books tend to survive better. I mean, I have photos of my great-grandparents, and they maybe had 10 photos taken in their whole lives, and we still have them, they're still in a photo album. They've been preserved. I once lost, just with one stroke, I lost 5 years of digital photos
Yeah. Yeah.
because of a cloud storage issue. So yeah, it's many reasons for why we think that books, it's a great benefit to have a book to pull everything back from the digital lives. It's nice to focus on the real life and real things.
Yeah. I always find it quite funny that when I was a kid, my mum would take pictures of us and then print them and then put them in an album. So there was a whole process that you go through. And now I just take hundreds of pictures of my child in the same position and never go back or rarely go back. I've actually started to make a point of it as a family that from time to time, we do sit down and say, "Oh, should we just look at my phone, at the photo phone from our holiday last year or whatever?" Because otherwise, you're just building a mountain of digital stuff that you're never giving any meaning to at all. Tell me about some of the challenges that you face, either directly with Storydo or, making Storydo work for you in your wider life. You're a mum, you're an entrepreneur, this is a startup. Yeah, I'm sure you're busy. So tell me about some of the challenges that you face.
It's it still can be very difficult to combine being the main carer of 2 children and a career, like an interesting professional life. It's still, I can't believe we're still at a point where it's very hard for women to do both, um, where careers are affected once you have children, and then so that is it's like many women I
Mm,
now know struggle
mm.
with fulfilling both roles well. So it's obviously trying to get a
Juggle.
company off the ground is very time consuming, and having a family as well. Or
And what advice do you give yourself on that one?
I don't have any. No advice. Absolutely none.
What do you tell
No.
yourself? Something must get you through the day or the week. What
I
makes you
don't
get
know.
up and keep going?
It's just remembering that I'm in a privileged position to be able to do so. That life is good on the whole. I think
Hmm.
that it's things might be difficult, and I'm working long hours, but It's just appreciating the good stuff, that I have this opportunity, that the time I get to spend with my kids. Um, so
You have created a product that is about, in many ways, addressing the scattered impact on our lives that digital has. How do you manage digital in your own family?
it's it's a constant negotiation. I think it's you sort of you have to choose your battles and choose them well, and then you really commit to them and really sort of try your very hardest. And it's not perfect, and sometimes they have more screen time than I'd like. But this is a battle I'm not going to give in on, and I don't think any generation before us has had that particular problem of being able to give their kids the best entertainment they can have, and
Mm.
then having to limit it. What I found much easier is to have certain days where they can use screens, and then days when there's no screen time whatsoever, because I find on the screen time days, they're just waiting for their screen time to start, and then they come off their screens, they're in a bad mood. So it's really, really hard to engage them in anything else. If you say, "Right, let's play this game, and afterwards you can go on your screen," they'll just do it as quickly as possible. They won't get into it. They've just got the screen time.
And this idea that you have with Storydo, which is our family life is scattered in no small part by digital tech being in our lives, and so you've brought it together into a physical product. Do you do that with aspects of your family life? I'm thinking things like crafts or a game of tennis, or do you try and bring that idea that you have at the behind that's nurturing Storydo into family life?
Absolutely, I think this is the other side of the battle. Is there's I think you sort of need to limit the digital side in order for kids to really appreciate the the together time. So there are limits on the screen time, because if you say, well, you can either I don't know, play a board game or play a computer game. Obviously, most kids would choose the computer game. But if it's the choices between I don't know, occupying yourself or playing a board game is suddenly much more attractive. So I think you totally need to limit the screen time to make the family time sort of attractive. And we do try to eat together, for example. I think
Mm.
that is something that brings the whole family together. So when we're all in the evening, we always have a meal together. Holidays where we really make the most of the holidays. We do stuff together. So I think, but having a few sort of fixed things in your family that you always do together is really focuses you on your family and your shared history, and you create new memories. So, but
And tell me, because Story Do is essentially about finding the narrative for your family so that it makes sense to everybody, but in particular to the child. What's the narrative for your kids about why screen time is problematic so that it makes sense to them?
I've always been completely honest and open with my children, and I do regularly talk to them about why too much screen time isn't great, and they've always sort of on some level, of course they will argue, but then on some level they've always also understood. So it's an ongoing thing with no easy answers.
Would you say that it's been about sharing your values with them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sonia, thank you very much indeed for joining me today.
It's brilliant. Thank you so much.